How can you develop blue ocean strategies? Hi everyone, my name is Johannes and welcome to this channel, welcome to Mastering Consulting. On this channel I share my own experiences and learnings from my own current journey management consulting to help you to become more successful in consulting and also live a balanced life. If you are new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe to it. Also please leave a thumb up. This will help you that you don't miss any new video here coming out. And today we have a special topic. We try something new. We talk about a business topic and we will talk about how you can develop blue ocean strategies. Let's talk a little bit what a blue ocean strategy actually is. So there is a book called Blue Ocean Strategies, and this book has the following concept. The book says, okay, most companies compete in red oceans. So what do they mean by that? Red oceans are markets where there is already a lot of competition, okay? So many companies fight for the same market share in one market. This is what they call a red ocean. The question is, obviously, as a company, it's much easier if you go to blue oceans. So those are markets where there is not a lot of competition, where there is still a lot of market share, where it's easy to grow in a fast pace. And this is typically what companies try to do. And it's also what we regularly face, or those challenges that we face as management consultants, so that we need to develop strategies for our clients to move from a red ocean to a blue ocean. And that's what we will talk about today, how you can create that. Let's start maybe with a little backstory. And I'm pretty sure that all of you know the firm Apple. And maybe a few of you know the story I am talking about, and maybe they experienced them yourself. So if you're looking back to the 2000s, and if you take a look on at the phone market, then you see that there were brands like Sony Ericsson, BlackBerry, Nokia. Those were the large brands in the game. And back then there was a trend that the phones got more and more complex, the keyboards got more and more complex, there were different varieties of models, so very a fragmented market. Also new functionalities were coming up. Everyone tried to put as much functionality into the phones as possible. And the phone market was more or less a business market, okay? So this was where the premium models were usually sold. Well, this suddenly changed when in 2007 Apple introduced the iPhone. And with the iPhone, Apple made many things very, very different compared to the other firms. So first of all, there was no variety of models, so there was only one model, the iPhone. Besides that, they tried to remove all the buttons, and this is very, very different from the BlackBerry, for example. Also, they tried to target another market. It was still a premium pricing, but they also targeted the private consumer. And what they did for that was that they tried to make the iPhone as much fun as possible. They tried to give it a kind of emotional touch. And if you take a look at the advertisements from back then, you definitely see what I mean. And also with the iTunes Store, and the App Store, they created a possibility to heavily individualize your phone. And with that, they disrupted the market. Now the big question is, of course, we are no Steve Jobs, but nevertheless, as consultants, and if we face the challenge very often that our client asks us, okay, how can we disrupt markets? How can we create blue oceans? And there is a framework that I want to introduce today. And this framework is called the Strategy Canvas. And this framework is from the book Blue Ocean Strategies. And I think it's very, very useful to use to develop blue ocean strategies. So how does it look like? So you have two axes. On the one axis, you have the competing factors, okay? And those are kind of the attributes where you compete with your competitors. So for example, obviously, it's the price, maybe it's also functionality, Maybe it's design, maybe it's you know, emotional appeal, maybe you know, it's a certain functionality. So you list all of the attributes that are important for your customer in the competing factors line. And then the other axis is the offering level. Okay, so this means, is your product or the product from your competitor, are you very strong in this category or not? Okay, and what you try to do is that you first draw the line for your competitors, okay, in the market where you're currently at, in the red markets. This is the red line that you see here on the graph, which is called industry value curve. And what you now try to do is that you find a way to kind of reduce or eliminate the factors where your competition is very strong. So this is the beginning here that you see in the first 2 or 3 competing factors. On the other hand, what you also try to do is that you kind of increase or invent new factors where you are very strong, but where no competition is existing. Okay, and this is the kind of blue line that you have, and this helps you to create a product with certain attributes that highly differentiates yourself from the competition. Okay, and to make it a bit more clear, let's take a look at the strategy canvas of Apple and the iPhone. So what you see here as a red line are the so-called feature phones. Okay, and also you see in the blue orange line the smartphones. And as you see, if you take a look at the competing factors in the price segment, so this is the first one, Apple and the iPhone was in the premium pricing. Okay, and what they did is that they eliminated all varieties of models. Okay, and this is why the blue line is at a very low point here. And this is very different to the feature phones and the smartphones, because they're companies like Nokia, like Sony Ericsson and so on, they really had a large variety of models. And obviously this made production much more complex and also kind of, you know, confused the customers because there were so many models to choose from. Also, the physical buttons. Apple and the iPhone only had one physical or one real physical button on the phone compared to all the other phones that had many buttons that were almost like a desktop keyboard. If you take another look, for example, Apple tried to raise, for example, the usage of mobile internet. They also tried to make it a lot more style and fun, and also tried to make the use as simple as possible. Sorry, I have a little cold, so try not to sneeze, but okay, forgive me. And also they tried to create something very new, and this is that they invented the App Store, where they came up with apps and possibilities to individualize your iPhone. So as you see, what Apple did was that they used, they probably did not use the strategy canvas model, but they used strategies that can be illustrated by the strategy canvas model that help to create blue ocean markets and to heavily gain market space. So there are several options how you can create those blue oceans. So first option is that you look across different industries. So the question is, can you, maybe with your existing product offer or maybe with new products, enter new industries? And an example for that is Michelin. Michelin, they were producers or are producers of wheels, but every one of us knows the Michelin stars. So those are restaurants ratings. So what they did was that they used the brand and entered in a completely different industry and created a complete new segment. Okay, and up until today they are one of the leading brands in restaurant guides, for example. The second path that you can take is that you look across strategic groups within your industry. So every industry has different groups. So if you talk about the automotive industry, you have the premium segment, then you have the mass market, and then you have other forms. And one example that comes to my mind is BMW here in Germany. So what they did is, BMW, as you probably know, is a premium car brand. And what they did, they created Share Now. And Share Now is a car rental service, which is offered in every large city in Germany and also in Italy and France and so on. And there you can rent BMW cars on a hourly basis, okay, or even for a couple of minutes. And this is, it's still the automotive market, it's still transportation, but they move from a premium segment to the mass consumer market with this product. What you also can do is that you look across the chain of buyers. So this means that you don't only target one target group with your products, but maybe also another group. And what comes to my mind is McDonald's, for example. They don't only target the adults, they also target the kids by creating kids menus, by having the strong brand of Ronald McDonald's, by having all those playgrounds in their branches. So this is also something that you can do, that you don't only focus on one target group, but also move across the chain of buyers and identify other target groups where you can sell your products. Path number 4 is that you look across complementary product or service offerings. What comes to my mind here is that you take a look again at the automotive industry. So Tesla, for example, is a car, almost like every car else. But what they did was that they were the first car that was a performing car in the electric market. Okay, so this is an additional product attribute that they introduced to the market. And as you know, they have been very, very successful with it. What you also can do, and this is path number 5, is that you take a look across functional or emotional appeal to buyers. An example for that would be Nike in the 90s. So Adidas was the big brand back then because they were the largest manufacturers of shoes and sports clothes. Nike was a brand that came up, I think, in the late 80s, and they became famous by partnering up with Michael Jordan. Because suddenly this brand became very, very cool. Okay, basketball was a very upcoming sport back then. It also really took off. Back then it was more like an American sport, but then it became international. And the brand Nike was suddenly attributed to those cool basketball players. They also focused on streetwear, and the Air Jordans became famous shoes, and not only in the sports segment, but also in the streetwear market. And the reason for that was that there was such an emotional attachment to that brand. Okay, so this is also something that you can do. And the last one, this is path number 6. This is that you take a look across the time. And a good example for that is iTunes, because in the 2000s, the music industry got heavily disrupted. Okay, MP3 formats came up, and all of this file sharing and so on really kind of destroyed the music industry. And Apple saw this trend, and this is why they introduced iTunes. Okay, so they took advantage, especially compared to all of the music labels and so on. So they really took advantage of the MP3 format and created a new device, because they knew, okay, now this technology MP3 is out there, and there is no way that this would change. So they took a look at the trends that they saw and tried to anticipate those trends, and introduced the iPod with the slogan 1,000 songs in your pocket. Okay, so those are ways how you can implement blue ocean strategies, or maybe you can implement it for your client. Of course, this gives you only a very rough idea, and if you're interested in blue ocean strategies, you definitely should read the book. It's an all-time classic that everyone who's working in the management environment should definitely read. So that being said, of course, I'm interested what you think about this format. So do you want me to talk more about business related topics like frameworks, like management concepts, like case studies? So please let me know in the comments. For me, it's now time to go to bed to cure my cold. If you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel. Also, please leave a thumb up that you don't miss any new video. And with that being said, I wish you a very great and successful day. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye, Johannes.